Welcome to Girl Read Your Bible, Sunday School for adults who missed it. I'm Nicole Waltz, your host for this podcast, brought to you by 522gals.com, a website dedicated to personal development and spiritual growth. Go and check it out. And girls, I so appreciate your support and helping us grow the podcast. And I want to thank you for sharing with your friends. I am seeing so much activity and it's been really encouraging and helpful. And I am just going to ask that you continue to help support me and the show by hitting that subscribe button. It actually helps us more than you might think, and it's a super easy step and way for you to help us reach more people, because it tells the algorithm that there are people who are interested, and then it encourages and pushes it out to even more people. And I'm so encouraged and touched by the amount of people who are seeking out just this kind of thing and wanting to know more about the Bible and getting more into the Word and learning all the things that God has for them. It's a really exciting time. And I'm really excited about going through the stories of these incredible people and seeing what we can learn from their life and how it can help us in our everyday lives and help us to see things about the Lord more clearly and help us to get a better picture of who God is and his love for us and all the things that make following Jesus incredible. With that said, I am so excited to dive into this week's episode of Girl Read Your Bible. We are talking about two people that are still relevant and important today. We're going to talk about the story of Jacob and Esau. And we left off last time with talking about Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac and Rebekah are the parents of Jacob and Esau. And so we are going to go over a lot of good things from their story. I have some really good takeaways for you today that is going to impact your life. This is stuff that you are going to actually really get something to really meditate on and really take away. I'm so excited because this is definitely one of these stories that have lasting impact in my life, and I hope it will for you too. So we are starting off today in Genesis 25. Now, we have previously discussed that one starts off with the death of Abraham. It goes through a list of descendants of Ishmael. So we've already kind of gone over that in the past, and we're not starting off with verse 1. We're going to start off in verse 19 of chapter 25 in the book of Genesis. And we left off last time in the podcast with the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah. And so this is a continuation of their story. This is the account of the family of Isaac, the son of Abraham. When Isaac was 40 years old, he married Rebekah, the daughter of, family noted, read all the words. Isaac pleaded with the Lord on behalf of his wife, because she was unable to have children. And the Lord answered Isaac's prayer, as he often does. And Rebekah became pregnant with twins. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. So she went and asked the Lord about it. Why is this happening to me? She asked. And the Lord told her, the sons in your womb will become two nations. From the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals. One nation will be stronger than the other, and your older son will serve your younger son. And when the time came to give birth, Rebekah discovered that she did indeed have twins. The first one was very red at birth and covered with thick hair like a fur coat, so she named him Esau. Then the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so she named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born. Let's stop right there, because there's a lot of things to take away. One, we know that this was 20 years of marriage till this happened. So much like Isaac would have seen and knew, well, he wouldn't seen, he wasn't there for, but would have known about for his own parents, is that they struggled with infertility and they struggled with trying to have him. And so they're going through the similar thing. They're not going to wait quite as long, but they've clearly gone through a similar thing because they got married when he was 40 and now he is 60 when these twins come along. So they also understood the battles of infertility and struggling to have children. And then when the Lord answers his prayer, they're pregnant with twins. Only these twins are not closely connected. They're fighting from conception. They are fighting in the womb. And even to the fact that Jacob has his hand on Esau's heel during delivery. We're talking about a painful delivery process, girls. I know you can feel me on this one. I always felt like this story was super intense. And, she goes to the Lord, what's happening? And he tells her. So I want you to remember that, because the reality is that Rebekah always knows how this is going to play out, because the Lord has told her. And whether she had doubted or was unsure about what the Lord had said, it does say, and then later she indeed did have twins. So it's kind of letting us know the Lord told her she was going to have twins, and indeed she did. So then she's like, that's that sign confirming that what the Lord had said is what's going to happen. And so from the very beginning, these two are going to be in charge, two different nations, and they're rivals. And I'll tell you why that's relevant, because these two nations are rivals today. From Jacob will come the Israeli people. Jacob later, spoiler alert, we'll get there. Not today, but we will get there through Jacob's story. Jacob's name will be changed to Israel. Remember that Abraham's name was Abram and was changed to Abraham. Not a big leap, but Jacob's is going to make a big shift, because his name is later going to get changed to Israel. And from him will be all of the tribes of Israel and all of the Israeli people. And we are going to get there. And I'm so excited to go through that information with you, because I think it holds a lot of value and relevance. In any case, that's why this is so important. From Esau is going to come the Palestinian nation. And so when I say to you girls that this is relevant today, we know that there's still a lot. I mean, I don't think that's a rivalry or a lot of chaos isn't a strong enough way to put, the wars that are still happening among these two brother nations. This is how closely related the peoples are that are still having this conflict and this division among them. It's coming. We can go all the way back in history and see where it started. And it starts here with Jacob and Esau, who are the founding fathers of these two peoples, two nations. And so that's really cool to know where that, might be a weird way to word that. It's really valuable to know that information, to know where their story is in fact starting. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about today. But we have some really good things to get into too. As the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter. He was an outdoorsman, but Jacob had a quiet temperament, preferring to stay at home. Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating the wild game that Esau brought home. Because we all know the way to a man's heart is his stomach, right? But Rebekah loved Jacob because he was quite the mama's boy, right? He liked to stay home. He was quiet temperament. It's already describing the differences from these two from the door, night and day. One day, also important to note as how that's worded one more time. Isaac loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And so we've got a problem with one of the founding families here, that they are showing favoritism. This is not a united front. This is not the way parenting is supposed to work. They're showing us a bad example of parenting, and it is going to have consequences. Had they done things right from the door, perhaps we would be living in a very different world. However, it's showing us the flaws in parents from the door. And Isaac and Rebekah are faithful people, and they love the Lord, but they are messing up the family. And they have not gotten all the things down that they should have learned and should have understood how to love well. That's something that they are not doing right here. And it's telling us from the door that they are playing favorites, and it is going to cause some big problems. So we are starting at continuing at verse 29. One day when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau arrived home from the wilderness, exhausted and hungry. Esau said to Jacob, "I'm starved. Give me some of that red stew." This is how Esau got his other name, which is Edom, which means red, which they must call him sometimes, Edom. "All right," Jacob replied, "but trade me your rights as the firstborn son." "Look, I'm dying of starvation," said Esau. "What good is my birthright to me now?" But Jacob said, "First you must swear that your birthright is mine." So Esau swore an oath, thereby selling all his rights as the firstborn to his brother Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and lentil stew. Esau ate the meal, then got up and left. He showed contempt for his rights as the firstborn through this action. So let's talk about that. This is really, again, showing their characters, because Jacob knew that promise meant something. He's the one staying at home. He's the one paying attention. Esau's being wild. He's out there. He's hunting. He's driven by a different force. This is some of the things we're kind of seeing. He comes home from, I'm assuming, hunting. It says he comes home from the wilderness, so I assume he's hunting and has not done a good job because he's starving. And his brother's making some food. And he is immediately willing to sacrifice something very important that he doesn't have a deep understanding of or a deep care about, because he's like, what good is a birthright to me if I die of starvation? Give me some food, you can have it. And Jacob's like, oh no, I'm not kidding about this, I'm serious, we're gonna have a contract right now. And Esau's like, sure, whatever, I don't care, I just want to eat. Like, not focused on the future. We'll say that. That's clearly what the picture is painting. And again, this is one of the reasons that we have a problem with these two nations, because they're still fighting over the birthright, which technically should have been Esau's because he was the firstborn. Of course, we can go all the way back and say that's why we're still having problems with other people's too, because Isaac wasn't technically the firstborn. He was the chosen. He was born from the wife of love. He wasn't born out of the from the concubine or from the outside of the covenant. So there's a problem here because there's a culture that says everything gets passed down to the firstborn. The firstborn gets the most important of the family, and our main matriarch or patriarchs here in the Bible are breaking culture by that not happening, because Isaac wasn't actually the firstborn of Abraham, and Jacob is not the firstborn of Isaac. Esau is. But Esau trades his birthright here for a bowl of stew. And so you might even hear that referenced. Now that you know the story, I bet you'll hear it referenced somewhere about selling your birthright for a bowl of stew. I mean, it shows up even in like little movies and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I bet people who don't really know the Bible don't pick up on that one. But from here on out, girls, you will get to pick up on that little thing that they slip in sometimes, little example that they slip in that comes right from the word. We're seeing a lot of important things about the differences between Jacob and Esau right here in the beginning. And Jacob's a little tricky, right? Like, he's out there cooking stew. There's some speculation I've seen taught that he knew that Esau was on his way home and that he kind of was preparing or like laying the foundation to set this up. I don't know about that. It doesn't specifically tell us that. But it could have been, because he gets even more tricky later. But we also know that God knew that this was going to happen. Why? Because he tells Rebekah in her pregnancy that the younger is going to rule over the older, which is already outside of culture, and God was already letting her know. And that was confirmed when she, in fact, did have twins, as God said that she would. And she was like, oh, some interesting things are going to happen. It might be one of the reasons why she favored Jacob as well, because she knew that one day he would be more or less the chosen one here. And now there's some things we're going to skip over a lot of the parts here in chapter 26. I encourage you, girls, as always, to read the Bible for yourself, because we are going to go back and forth here with them. A famine strikes the land. There's some moving around. Isaac makes the same mistake as his father when they go into another land. Excuse me. And he says tell everyone you're my sister instead of my wife because you're so beautiful. And it plays out very much, very similar to the story that Abraham and Sarah have already been through. And, there's some back and forth. They are asked to move, and there's some back and forth with some wells and some water rights. And Isaac digs wells and renames them and opens them. And so there's a lot of things about that. I'm sure has a lot of relevance and is very important. Please read all that stuff for yourself, because I am taking you for the sake of this teaching that we're doing today. We're going all the way down to the end at verse 34, which is the only part I'm going to read in this chapter for today. At the age of 40, Esau married 2 Hittite wives, Judith, the daughter of blah, 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 and Basemath, the daughter of Elon. But Esau's wife made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. Let me read some of that again. Just I want you to, at 40, Esau married 2 Hittite wives. Why is that relevant? Because Abraham was super intentional about making sure that Isaac did not marry local women, that he stuck within the family's lineage as was common in the day. But Isaac didn't follow suit at making sure that Esau did the same. And that's strange because he says he loved Esau. Esau cooked him good food. So we don't really know the backstory or what all's going on there. But he's marrying 2 Hittite women. And these women make life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. So this is what we know, friends. Like, the people that's in your family is going to affect your daily lives. This is an important decision. And I'm curious as to why Isaac didn't get more involved from the door with this decision. It tells me some things about their relationship, because Isaac waited patiently on his father to handle this. And I'm sure they had good conversations about it. And I don't know that Isaac followed suit. We're not seeing all the details of the story, so we have to just read between the lines and maybe make some takeaways and assumptions. There could be a lot of different scenarios. Maybe they did try to talk about it. Maybe Esau was rebellious about it. Maybe Isaac was uncomfortable having these conversations. We don't know, but we do know it didn't play out the way that it should have. If it did, it would have benefited everybody, and it's clearly letting us know that it ended up a very bad situation. Because I think that's incredible. Like, these 2 women's names make it in the Bible, and it's letting them know that they made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. That's not the honorable mention you want to have in the Bible. You made other people's lives miserable. That's no good. But we're going on, because now I think it's also setting the stage for their age, was roughly 40. And so we're in Genesis 27. And this is where it gets really important. Jacob steals Esau's blessing. That's the headline for this chapter. One day when Isaac was old and turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son, and said, "My son." "Yes, father," Esau replied. "I am an old man now," Isaac said, "and I don't know when I may die. Take your bow and quiver full of arrows and go out into the open country and hunt some wild game for me. Prepare my favorite dish and bring it for me to eat. Then I will pronounce the blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son, before I die." This is important. But Rebekah overheard what Isaac had said to his son Esau. So when Esau left to hunt for wild game, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father say to Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare me a delicious meal, and then I will bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father so that he can eat it and bless you before he dies." "But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is a hairy man, and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? because remember, it said that Isaac's going blind. So Jacob's pointing out how it's not so easy to trick him. He'll see that I'm trying to trick him, and he'll curse me instead of blessing me. But his mother replied, then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out, get the goats for me. So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took them to prepare a delicious meal, just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were there in the house, and gave them to her younger son Jacob. She covered his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skin from the young goats. She's being pretty deceptive and clever here, friends. I mean, this is quite the heist. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including the freshly baked bread. So Jacob took the food to his father. My father, he said. Yes, my son, Isaac answered. Who are you, Esau or Jacob? This tells me they must have sounded very similar in their voice because they looked completely different. They acted completely different. But as a man going blind, he should have been able to tell the difference between their voices, and he had to ask. So they must have had very similar voices. Jacob replied, It's Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you told me. Here is the wild game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me your blessing. All of that's a lie, friends. Isaac asked, How did you find it so quickly, my son? The Lord your God put it in my path, Jacob answered. Then Isaac said to Jacob, Come closer so I can touch you and make sure you are really Esau. This is a little funny though, right? Because we're seeing here that Isaac's immediately suspicious. How'd you do this so quickly? He immediately knows there's something a little off. Then he wants, come here so I can touch you and make sure you're really Esau. He knows what his family is capable of, right? He's trying his best to cover his bases, but he doesn't know just how far they'll go. So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's. See, their voice is a little different. I didn't read as thoroughly ahead this time. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. But are you really my son Esau? He asked one more time. Deep down, he knew. Deep down, he's just not sure. But Jacob lies again. Yes, I am. Then Isaac said, Now, my son, bring me the wild game. Let me eat it, and then I will give you the blessing. So Jacob took the food to his father, and Isaac ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, Please come a little closer and kiss me, my son. So Jacob went over and kissed him, and when Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced, and he blessed his son. He said, the smell of my son is like the smell of the outdoors, which the Lord has blessed. See, Rebekah covered her bases. She was making sure. That tells me there's been some conversations in this family over the years. And we already know, because the word already told us, that Rebekah had a favorite and Isaac had a favorite. And there must have been some conversations. And she knew her husband. She knew fully well how to deceive him. And I will say, last episode, we talked about the virtues and the good qualities of Rebekah and what a good example she was. But here again, we are reminded that no matter how many good qualities people have, they often also have flaws. And this would be Rebekah's big misstep. Because see, when God told her when she was pregnant that the younger would rule over the older, he was letting her know it would happen. He wasn't telling her to make it happen. It wasn't an instruction. He wasn't instructing her to sometime later deceive her husband and really lead her son into a bad path. Because see, we can see at the beginning of the story here where Jacob kind of rejects this plan. He's got some questions. He contests it. I don't know about this. Might not be a good idea. But ultimately, he does obey her, and he goes out and gets the goats and does all the things, and he sees where there could be flaws in the plans, and man, she's on top of it. She's pretty clever. She knows exactly all the steps they need to take to make this happen, and she knows why it's important. She has really understands the value of what's about to happen, and that's really something to understand. She really has great faith in the power of the words, great faith in the power of God and all the things that's about to take place. And she wants to make sure it goes to her favorite child. Again, seeing a lot of flaws. Deception, really bad flaw. This is going to cause generations of problems. From here on out, there's going to be problems because of this act. However, she's got her bases fully. We can see that she used to be a good person, or maybe she's still a good person. She's just she's having some real moments of weakness. I guess I just really wanted to point out that we all have good qualities and we all have challenges, and even our great examples of faith, even the people who make it into the Bible and have their stories revealed and shared. We're seeing a really bad side of Rebekah. This story isn't going to go well for her. Doesn't make her look good. Whereas last week I was telling you guys how great Rebekah is. I did know that this story was coming. I guess I want to point that out as that's an example for all of us, is to stay strong in the faith and actually continue to put your faith in God. Rebekah's taking it into her own hands, and she's going to cause just generations, centuries of strife because of the actions that she's about to take. So she hasn't stayed strong in putting her faith in God. She understands the value of what's going to happen. She understands the importance of the Lord and the things of the Lord. But she's moving in a way that is deceptive and deceitful and looks like the devil, guys. So it can't be a good thing. I'm sure she's justifying it. I'm sure she's making all the excuses. Why? Because that's what people do, right? That's what we all do. But this is still a really important example for us. Again, I'm saying because she started off with so many virtuous and good qualities, and we can see where there's been a mistake made here. And it can just be a simple mistake, or she could just be thinking, like I said, I'm sure she's justifying it. The Lord told me this is going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. She didn't learn anything from Sarah. She didn't know Sarah, but I'm sure she's heard the stories, and she didn't learn from that example or from that story to be patient on the Lord and to continue to be patient in the Lord and to see how the Lord will handle it. She wanted to take matters into her own hands, and it is going to cause a problem. But I want to point out to you that the value and the importance for me, the big takeaway from this story is what we're talking about here is the blessing that they're doing such big levels, right? Like go out. We're going to trick your brother. You're going to go out and we're going to trick your dad. We're going to get this goat. I'm going to prepare this meal. I'm putting a lot of effort into this. I've thought it through. Go wear your brother's clothes so your dad doesn't know it's you. Go, I got some fake skin to put on you so you feel more like your brother. This is the next level of deceit here, where we're like, she's obviously thought this through, right? There's a lot of steps to this. And what they're fighting over here is the blessing that Isaac is about to speak. That's all it is. There's no official document. There's no contract. There's no big key that he's going to hand over to him, or I don't know, the bank passcode. That's not what that's not a thing. That's not what they're fighting over. That's not the concern. Right now, all of this act is for the words that are about to come out of Jacob's mouth. That's the biggest takeaway. That's what makes me love this story, because it is an amazing example of how important and valuable are the power of our words. They understood in a way we don't, in a way we've got to learn, that your words are so incredibly powerful. Remember last time we talked about the story of Isaac and Rebekah, and Abraham had sent out his servant to go and find a wife for Isaac, and he and his servant questioned it, and he said, the Lord is going to send an angel ahead of you and going to make sure that your mission is success. This is a success. He's going to go out ahead of you. And he declared that thing, and then that thing did come to pass because Abraham knew the power of his words, because of his relationship and obedience and faith and commitment to the Lord. He knew his words were incredibly powerful. We are not as careful with our words as we could be, as we should be, because our words are equally this powerful. You understand that all of this is happening in the story that I'm reading, this great lengths of deception for getting the blessing. The blessing is, I'm going to read it in a minute, but it's just words. It's just words that Isaac is going to speak over his son. And that's incredibly, it boggles my mind of how powerful they knew those words were. That's how powerful your words are. Are you protecting the words coming out of your mouth as if they are this powerful, that people would sacrifice and scheme and deceive and do hard work just to get words spoken over them, because they understand how incredibly powerful it is when it is from someone chosen of God? And you, my friend, are chosen of God, and so your words carry this kind of power and weight. And we just need to really know that and remember that. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways from any story that we will talk about. This is why I get very passionate about this one. Your words will create your world. Your words will create your world. And you have incredible power because you are made in the image and likeness of God. Because you are chosen. Because when he looks at you, he sees his son Jesus, because you are reconciled to him. And so your words are equally or more so as powerful as Isaac's. And we need to know that and own that power and really use it for our benefit, for the benefit of people around us. Your words carry incredible power. And Isaac's words carry incredible power. And they really knew that and wanted that. And they did all these leaps. And so, and even though Isaac is speculating, he's like not certain. He keeps doubting that this is really Esau. So he knows something's awry, but he has finally the last step, touch. So taste. Okay, we're going to use all his other senses because remember, he's going blind. So he's tasting the food that he prepared. Okay, seems like something Esau would do. He touch. He's feeling his skin and saying, okay, that it does. Here seems a little off. This is not, the voice isn't quite right. Their voices still had to have been close, or it would have been dead obvious, right? So their voices had to have been pretty close. He was like, you do sound like Jacob right now, but it's still, all the other things were enough to trick him. So there's got to be some pretty closeness there. So he's using all his other senses to confirm. And lastly, smell. When he leans in to kiss his father, he can smell his clothes. And see, Mama was prepared for that. She knew all the things to convince Isaac that this was, in fact, Esau, and it isn't. And so once Esau is fully convinced, he speaks the blessing, and this is it. From the dew, verse 28, from the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you abundant harvest of grain and bountiful new wine. May many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed. That last line there is still very important and utilized today. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed. That's a continual phrase that they'll use over and over for Israel, which will become Jacob's name later. We'll get through his story. But that sentence is a really important part of that. That As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and almost before Jacob had left his father, Esau returned from the hunt. We went through all this deception for those couple of words there. Those words carried that much power. And not even, remember that Esau was very unconcerned with his birthright earlier, just a chapter earlier, right? You're like, you can have it. I'll sell you it for a bowl of stew because I'm really super hungry. And but this time, even Esau knows how important that was. So Esau prepared a delicious meal and brought it to his father, and then he said, "Sit up, my father, and eat my wild game so that you can give me your blessing." But Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" And Esau replied, "It's your son, your firstborn son, Esau." And Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, "Then who just served me wild game? I have already eaten it, and I blessed him just before you came. And yes, that blessing must stand." Oh, again, friends, I'm just reiterating how powerful are your words. And they know it. They all know it. When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Oh, my father, what about me? Bless me too," he begged. See, this is the same Esau who quickly gave up his birthright for a bowl of stew not that long ago, but understood how important this blessing of words was. It's just a big takeaway for us, friends. I'm going to keep driving that point home because I want you to know how incredibly powerful your words are. Esau exclaimed, "No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First, he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?" And Isaac said to Esau, "I have made Jacob your master, and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?" They knew how incredibly, I already gave it all away. I already said it. So it's going to happen for your brother. Like, I already said it. There's nothing I can do. That's bonkers, right? Like, that's bonkers that they knew how incredibly powerful that was. But Esau pleaded, But do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too." Then Esau broke down and wept. This is Esau, who knew how incredibly powerful the words of his father were going to be in this time. Finally, his father, Isaac, said to him, "You will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck." That was all he had for him. That was the only blessing that was left. That was that. And so now we're going to go into some incredible turmoil. We're going to talk more about about Jacob and Esau and the trouble that's going to ensue because of this, because of stealing a conversation. Can I make it any clearer? Are you hearing what I'm telling you? Your words are incredibly powerful, specifically when they're spoken with such intention. I mean, they all are. Every person in this family, with all their flaws and all their deceptions and all their confusions and mistakes and whatever, their loyalty, their faithfulness, their understanding of who God is and the power that they have, they understand the power of this blessing and how important it is to be intentional with your words. This speaking a blessing over him, and they're all fighting over it this hard. May we get there, Lord. May we understand how incredibly powerful that is. From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing. And Esau began to scheme, "I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." So he's going to wait until after his father dies, so it's not a bigger problem for his dad. but he is making a plan. He is angry in his heart. He's got a lot of anger holding on there. And I mean, you can see where that's coming from. If this was all trickery, right? This is all coming from a bad spot. And we're seeing evil repaid with evil, right? Like, he tricked me, and it's a big deal. It was a big take, right? But he's got a plan it's not good. Verse 42, but Rebekah heard about Esau's plans. So she sent for Jacob and told him, listen, Esau is consoling himself by plotting to kill you. Like, that's a really good sentence there. He's consoling himself by trying to kill you. Think that through, friends. He is consoling himself. He's making himself feel better. He is channeling his pain into a revenge plot. This is a bad thing to do. How often do we see that in today's culture, right? Where we're seeing evil repaid with evil, or we're like consoling ourselves with plotting bad things. We're seeing that happening. This is an example of what not to do, okay? So that's a really good line. Listen, Esau is consoling himself by plotting to kill you. So listen carefully, my son. Get ready and flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there with him until your brother cools off. And when he calms down and forgets what you have done to him, I think that's a weird sentence because I don't see that happening, but she does. I will send for you to come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Because she knows, like, this is going to go back and forth, and it's not going to be good. Because also, again, illustrating the power that she knows that those words spoke. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Like, something bad is going to come from this. It's going to cost her both her sons. And she knows the power of that blessing that was just spoken. And her mother's heart has reconciled to the mistake that she's made, perhaps. Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm sick and tired of all these local Hittite women. I would rather die than see Jacob married to one of them. And so that's how she's sending him away. So she's claiming that that's why. And that would have been a good reason to send him away. But in any case, it was really because she knows that Esau is plotting to kill him the first chance he would get after his father has passed on. So she is sending him off to find a wife that is not a Kenite woman. And they are already having all the problems that was mentioned with Esau's wives. They're making their life miserable. And so she's saying, I am not having that for my son. So you've got to send him off to my family the same way, that you found me. And so that's what's going to happen next. And there's a really good story with that one too. That is my favorite love story of the Bible. But we'll get there. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you will really meditate on the power of your words and really, just really think on that and really read this for yourself. Read these chapters for yourself. Let that penetrate deep into your soul and know how incredibly powerful your words are. Especially when you're connected to God, especially when you're connected in obedience and faithfulness, especially when you're speaking with intentionality. We're seeing that play out story after story, but this one is just like the most obvious one, where all of this chaos and all of this fighting is just over the blessing, which is just words he spoke over him. I can't tell you what that one does for me. I hope it lights you up as much as it does me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, girl, read your Bible.